Hello and welcome to the CSE capstone class for the fall of 2024. My name is Jose Vidal and I will be the instructor in this class. And so in this video, what I want to do is just, first quickly go over all the things that you need to do right away, in the first week of classes. And then I'm going to go over just the whole semester, what we're going to do this semester. First thing you need to know is everything for this class is going to be posted on this website, capstone.csce.sc.edu. It's already posted, so everything that you need to do for this semester is already there, and the deadlines. So read all of it, start planning ahead. There's no late work accepted, right? So you plan ahead. It's part of being a software developer. So you can get things done by the deadline. When the deadline comes, whatever you have, that's what we're going to grade. So check them out. It's already there. All the milestones are there. This is the website, little menu here. And the home screen, you'll see the syllabus here. We'll go over that in a little bit. You should definitely read it. And I also have this little deadlines page where I put all the deadlines in one page, keep them organized. So you can see everything right there. Start planning. We have here the milestones. These are basically homeworks. GitHub calls them milestones, so I went with that. And they're all here already with their deadlines this semester. We're only going to do for this semester is all the way up to the proof of concept demo. So read them now, all of them. Just skim them over so you can know what's coming. But yeah, only up to here. Then this is 492 later on next semester. We have some lectures associated with the milestones. You'll get that. And then student videos. You can see the video demos from last year and previous years. So maybe you can get some inspiration about what you want to build. So back to home here. That's the website here. Scroll down here. The video is going to be up there. So the first thing you need to do is watch the video, which we're doing now. So good. Then you need to tell me your GitHub username, because everything we do is on GitHub. The first thing I need to do is add you to our SC Capstone org in GitHub, which is private. So I need to add you. I need your GitHub username. So just click there. This is you have to log in using your USC credentials. Just click there, log in, and enter your GitHub username. Do that right now. And once you do that, then a couple of times a day I'll be adding people to our org. So what's going to happen is you get an email from GitHub saying, do you want to join this org? You click yes, and then once you do that, you should be able to click here or here. They're both the same thing. This is our discussion page. So if you're not part of the org, this will be a 404. But once you get in, you'll be able to see this. It's a discussion. So the way this works in GitHub is a little weird. So SC Capstone, this is our org or organization. It's like a company. It has a bunch of repos, and then one of them I created. I create one for each semester. It's the 490 Fall 2024 repo. It has nothing in it, in terms of code, but it just has this discussions page, which is our class discussion. So that's our class discussion. The first thing I want to do is go over here. Code and then watch this repo. So let's say I'm not watching it. It's ignore. So I am ignoring this repo. That's not what you want to do. You want to be watching for all activity, or you can customize it as you learn to use GitHub to your liking. But so this means that GitHub is going to give you notifications when something happens in this repo. Definitely for your own team repo, you should be watching all activity. And then notifications, again, is not like an English word. You can go under settings and modify what notifications GitHub sends you. So whether you want them in an email or just in here, this is the sort of, they're built-in notifications. It's like an email system. So however you want to do it. But the main thing is you are responsible for keeping up with the announcements. So I will post things here as announcements that you really need to know, maybe. As we go in the semester. Also, and you can post things, and you will be probably posting things here as you form a team. So that's the second part. Go to this discussions, make sure you watch it. And then we have to form teams. So as you know, in the capstone class, what we do is we build apps. So we're going to break up into teams of 4 or 5 students, no more, no less. This is all described here, and build apps. So the first thing we need to do is form these teams. So you go ahead and find those 4 or 5 people that you want to work with. This is where the discussion comes in handy. So we have a team formation category, so you can post a new discussion under the team formation saying, oh, I have we have 2 people, we're interested in doing this thing, we need another 3 or 2 or 3 people, and yeah, just post it and other people will be able to see it in the class, and then they can reply and stuff. Note that GitHub doesn't have any sort of direct messaging, so if you want people to reply to you secretly, you have to put your USC email address or something else. Otherwise, people can just post here and everybody can see it, which is good. So you can use that to post and find team members, or you can post, I'm looking for a team or whatever. So yeah, you can do that. You can form teams that way. Or maybe you don't want to go through all that hassle, and if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. So you can just do nothing. What's going to happen is, going back to the deadlines here, so these are due in September 1st, so that's Sunday. Pretty much all the milestones are due Sundays, so we start grading Mondays. So if you do nothing, so this is the deadline. By then, so what's going to happen is, if you don't submit it, then on Monday morning, I'm just going to go through, find all the people who didn't, submit anything or not part of any of the teams, and just randomly make teams out of them. So I'm just going to take everybody, and usually there's a bunch, about 2/3, or a third. So yeah, you can just do nothing, and then you will get assigned to a team, or you can create your own team, however you want to do it. But if you create a new team, note that it has to be done by, you have to submit this form by that date. As I get the teams, I will post them in the discussion so everybody can see, the teams are forming and who is already, taken. Do know that, one tip is, I think that happens every semester is, you have somebody forms a team of 4, and then last minute, one of the people decides to drop out of the team of 4. And so now you have 3 people. And of course, yeah. If you have 3 people, you're going to go back to the group of, I'm just going to assign you to everybody. So, if you form a team of 5 people, then if one of them drops out, you're down to 4. And so that's still good. So if you want to be safe, maybe form a team of 5 people. That's a little tip. So back to the home page, I think we're done here. So that's the team information. That's done. And now, so these are the things you need to do. September 1st is when this is due. Or if you don't have to do this one, you can just assign you a team, and it will be posted on the discussion probably on Monday or Tuesday at the latest. Then read the rest of the 490 syllabus. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm just going to go over the syllabus and maybe the milestones a little bit. So what we're going to do this semester. This is the syllabus. Please make sure you read all of it. Learning outcomes, instructor, that's me. So the way to contact me and all the TAs is through GitHub, right? So number 1, we want to do everything on GitHub. Everything that you do will be on GitHub. If it's not on your GitHub repo, we're not going to grade it. It's like it didn't happen. So make sure everything is on GitHub. And also we're going to try to communicate as much as possible via GitHub. So you just, create an issue, assign it to me as my GitHub username, and I'll answer it because I know how to use GitHub. I'll get a notification because you assigned it to me, and I'll reply. If you need to contact me privately, so this is also good because when you post something there, your teammates can see it. You're going to be posting on your repo, which is private, but your teammates can see it, and maybe other people later on will be able to see it. So keep that in mind. Anything technical and stuff, it should be there so your teammates can see it, see what's happening. It's like, oh yeah, I know what you need over there. Any private stuff, you can just email me, vidal@sc.edu, and I will reply quickly. I'm gonna also have office hours, like your physical office hours in my office at Story. So you can drop by, or we can do a video call, of course, we're gonna use the USC, the college's Microsoft stuff. So Teams video call. So yeah, you can just, again, set up a GitHub issue and contact me to set up a time. We can do pretty much any time, during working hours for that, or during office hours. It's fine too, whatever. But yeah, check out the office hours if you want to drop by. Yeah, they'll be over here. I don't think it's not there. Yeah, this is not working yet. There's no hours there, but there will be hours added there, so you can reserve a time when you want to, drop by. So if you want to drop by, you probably click there, and it'll show you, when you want to come by, and so I know you're going to be there, and I'm going to be there. These RTAs, they might change. I'm not sure at this point. This might be different by the time you look at it. So communication, like I said, everything via GitHub. I already mentioned that. So there's no textbook. There is a capstone lab. I don't know if you know this, but in the Story building, room 1210, so in the first floor, you use your USC ID. If you're registered for the class, should work, and I'll open that door, and you can see little photos of it. It's 13 Mac Minis, 8 Windows PCs, another 8 Linux machines. So it's a good place, really good place for meeting your team and doing some work, or if you just need a computer, especially Macs. People don't have Macs sometimes. You can drop by and use one of the Macs if you're doing some Xcode or something. This is the team information. I went over that. Grading scale, it's right here. So read that, how much everything is worth. Feedback that we use. The grades are going to be on Blackboard, and so not on GitHub. So all the grades are on Blackboard, but the feedback is on GitHub. We're going to use GitHub issues a lot. So we'll be writing stuff there, but the actual grades are never going to be on GitHub because, privacy stuff. Personal contributions. So part of the grade that's important is here. Personal contribution is worth up to 100% of the grade. So basically, this means that if you didn't do anything, even the team can get an A, like it can be an A level app, but if you didn't do anything, you'll get an F. That's what this basically means. Specifically, I'm going to give everybody a personal contribution grade at the end of the semester. Sort of satisfactory, poor, unacceptable, and then your specific grade will be adjusted based on that, right? So if you have an unacceptable personal contribution, you will fail the class. You must write code. It's very important. This is a software engineering lab, so the writing the code is what it's graded, even though there are other parts, other things that need to get done. So you will get some credit for other stuff, like saying HTML, and then doing graphics and stuff like that. You will get a plus, so you'll get points for that. But you must write code. If you write no code, you will fail. If you write 0 lines of code, you will fail the class. So that's important to keep in mind. You have to make significant code contributions. Everything is on GitHub, and then the firing a team member. This is really a good way to get people working early on in your team. So if you detect somebody in your team who's doing nothing, maybe they didn't watch this video and think, oh, I can just do nothing and I'll pass the class because the team is going to do everything else. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But if you make it more obvious and get them to do work now, you can start the firing process. You can read it here. Basically, you'll tell the team, it's like, hey, you haven't done anything in the last, 3 weeks. Here's something to do in the next 2 weeks. If you don't do it, you're just going to fail the class because, that'll be like 5 weeks of doing 0 work. Something like that. So just read this, and that's the process that we use. Academic integrity. It's important to know that, in this class, your GitHub account is you, right? So letting somebody else use your GitHub account is the same as letting somebody else take a test for you or do your homework for you, and I will treat it as such. So it's cheating. So do not do that. Keep your password secret. Your GitHub account is your identity. Do not share it with anybody. Do not commit code for anybody else. Here's a little tip. I don't know if people forget that you can share your laptop, create a new account for somebody and give them that account, and that is what you should do if you are letting somebody else borrow the laptop to do some programming. Not only does it keep your stuff secret, so they won't be able to snoop around all your files, but also, the way Git is set up, Git is set up for your user in your laptop. So if they're using your account in your laptop, they're you. So don't do that. So yeah, nothing late, and then some other stuff and standard things in the schedule and stuff. To make sure you read the whole syllabus so you are familiar with everything. And now the last thing, just quickly go over the milestones for the semester. So like I said, they're all over here. You click over each one, you'll see each one has a due date, and then this part here, grading, team or individual. So over here, this one has a grading of individual. So what that means is that for this milestone, each person gets their own individual grade. For this milestone, there's one grade, for the whole team. So notice also there's some of these milestones we have a lectures watch. So it's just before you do the milestone, you should watch this lecture. So just click over there. There's some videos there. Watch them. Check them out. And then read the milestones. So the first one is the forming teams milestone. This is just basically have your first meeting as a team and make some decisions. Also, a lot of the milestones will have the deliverables section, which this tells you what you actually have to turn in specifically. So again, read those. Initially, you'll notice for a lot of our milestones here, early ones, you're going to be turning in wiki pages in your repo, right? Because you don't have any code yet. So you're just going to be using the GitHub repo, and you're going to turn those in as wiki pages. Then later on, you'll start using the actual code part of it, like GitHub repo. So, and then there's a little grading rubric that we have for a lot of them. So that's the form teams milestone, and the weekly report. This is one's a little bit different because is due every Sunday. Oops, that should be 24. I'll fix that hopefully. So yeah, this is just every week. You're gonna have an issue in your GitHub repo that says weekly report and the date. I think I haven't updated this, but hopefully by the time you watch this will have the actual dates for this year, like 2024. So every Sunday, or they'll be due every Sunday, there'll be an issue. You create that issue, and then you just, in that issue, with the date of that it's due, you just write a little comment saying what you did that week. So you can read all that. This is why we're doing it and stuff. I'm gonna update this, make a note of that. And then personas and user stories. So you'll notice basically all these milestones here are about designing, so what should the app do? What should it look like? What does it need? So design and requirements, that kind of stuff. So it's all going to be like that. But also at the same time, we have the research milestone right there. At the same time, you need to be also learning your platform. So early on, you need to decide, I'm going to build an Android app. So you need to start learning Android programming and Kotlin and stuff. So you can do the research milestone. So some of these milestones, it's not that you do one and then do the next one and the next one. Like the research milestone, you need to start working on that one like right away, early on, because it's going to take more than 1 week, more than a month, really. So this might take a long time. Other ones are going to be easy or take less time. So again, make sure you read all of them before, so you have an idea of how long each one is going to take you. So personas, again, read of it. This is a team one. It's about, figuring out who's going to use your app. Design milestone. There's a due date team where you actually start doing the design, how the app is going to look like. Again, there's a lecture associated with that. Look at it and do this one. Requirements. What is the app going to do? Again, read it and do it. I'm not going to go into too much details, but each one has a deliverables and a due date. The research milestone, I know this one has a grading of individual, and this one's going to be a little bit different. Check out the deliverables. They're going to tell you how to turn this one in, which is a little bit different from all the other ones. It's not a wiki page. So read that and do it individually. Like I said, this one's going to take you longer because the idea is to show that you can build an Android app by yourself. The architecture, now we start looking about how to put the whole system together, write a little document about that. Source control milestone, October 27. At this point, this is where you actually create the common code base. So you actually put, you do the first commit to your shared repo. And like this is the first version of the app, like usually the hello world, but it compiles and runs. And then you verify that everybody in the team can download it and run it. You also create a README file that shows, how everything is set up and how you're going to deploy it. Tells basically the idea of a README file, as you've probably seen, is to tell a new developer that just joined the team how they can build this whole thing and get it installed and running on their laptop. So which is what we're going to be doing probably. So check it out. There's some other things that you need to do and learn about pull requests and merges. Then we have the ELS, ethical learning and security considerations, where you're gonna, write a little bit about, think about those things and write about how your app deals with those issues, if any issues. And then after that, really after the source control, you start programming the proof of concept. Proof of concept is what we call, your first release. So you're gonna create this proof of concept app that has to have, as I say here, at least 10% of the final functionality, implement, use all the libraries, all the things that you're going to be using. If it's a web app, it has to be deployed. If it's a mobile app, it has to be running on a phone. Just get all that working and get, the core functionality, the really core. It's the 10% of it. The login should work, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about that. And that is what you're going to be the final deliverable for this semester. Just a proof of concept. I got the heart of the app working, but here, I have an Android app and it does the core thing that we need to do it. Now we just need to add all the other features. And then there's also a demo. So this is just a little video where you demonstrate the app and turn that in. It's a preparation for the same kind of thing. You have to do a final video demo next semester in 492. And that's the last bit of the milestones. Now if you go back, I will go back to the deadlines here. Know that there's also another thing you have to do is you have to turn in your peer reviews. So you also have to there's an online form where you tell me, what work did you do? And then what work did each other person in the team do? And, how do you rate their performance? That is going to be part of the personal contribution grade that everybody will get. So it's very important. And that's it. That's all the things that you need to do. So again, initially, because you don't have your repo, so you can email me with any question just for now. But once you create the teams, or I create a team for you, then we'll move on to just using GitHub issues for communication. Thank you. And one thing I forgot is after you have formed your team, you can decide to have a client. So you can, if you want to work with somebody else, you go over here to our discussions, as I told you. Click here on client proposals, and I have already posted a bunch of them. So if you scroll down here, you can see this is a bunch of ideas or apps that people need. Mostly these are USC faculty from other departments, typically researchers that need another app, need an app to do this or that thing for their research. So yeah, just read over these. Each one of them also have an email address of the person, and if you want to contact them, there's also Capgemini. That's a local company. They hire several of our students every year. So they have 3 projects, and this is their contact information. 3 projects that they want to work on. So check those out also. So there might be more added here. I will add them if any more come. So you just this is all up to you if you want to do it. If your team wants to do it, contact the person directly, and then you schedule a time to meet with them. However you want to do it. I think it will add a lot to your experience to do this, right? So if you're working with somebody, you're going to learn a lot more about what it means to actually try to figure out requirements analysis. What does that mean? That means figuring out what they want, which is not easy. Requires conversation. It requires you to tell them that's impossible, that can't be done, but we can do this instead, and just a lot of back and forth trying to figure out what's the best way to solve what they actually need solved. So it'll look great on your resume. But they are not, we have more teams, about twice as many teams, I think, than ideas here. So a lot of you will, have to do just, the usual thing where you do, like a startup project. So you come up with your own idea for a project and you do that. So check them out. Last thing to note is that I cannot have 2 teams working on the exact same thing. So I'm not going to allow that. What is allowed is you can have 2 or maybe more teams working with the same client. So say, for example, one team is building the app using Android Studio and Kotlin, and the other team is building the app using Xcode and Swift. So those are 2 completely separate code bases, so that would be fine for this class. But you can't both be, building the app in Android Studio and, both just Android apps, because you're both building the same thing. Other than that, yeah, this is another thing you can do if you want to.